the sum of our choices. This was your calling, your destiny. I have no regrets. Neither should you.
I need you to trust me. One last time.
Hello everyone, welcome to another movie review. I just got done seeing Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, aka Mission Impossible 8, aka the final Mission Impossible movie, supposedly, which I believe, because I don't think you can top this one. So real quick before I talk about the movie, I want to let you guys know I am sort of a new Mission Impossible fan. Leading up to this release, actually, this past week, I've watched the first 7 movies in a row because I really needed to catch up. I'd only seen the first 3 movies, and it's been years since I've seen 2 or 3. You know, I actually rewatched one a couple years ago because I wanted to catch up for the one that came out 2 years ago, Dead Reckoning Part 1. I wanted to catch up for that one, but for whatever reason, I just got cut up with other things or just totally fell off. So I did rewatch one a couple years ago, but 2 and 3 I hadn't seen in years. So, and then 4 through 7, like I said, I had not seen, period. So yeah, I did a whole marathon this week, and man, I'm telling you, coming off of this movie, I really wish I was going to see these movies every time they came out because it was one heck of an experience. I saw it in IMAX because, of course, you have to see this in IMAX. Just trust me, guys, you do. They did film this with IMAX cameras, certain scenes, so definitely see it in that format in particular because, man, I'm telling you, I was enthralled the entire time. This movie's almost 3 hours, and it flew by. Like, I was not bored at any moment, to be honest. Like, I was invested. You know, I don't know if it's because, I've been marathoning these movies and I'm just, like really into it at the moment, yeah. So, as you can tell, I'm very happy with this movie. So I'm going to give it a very good score later. A lot of the reviews I've been seeing have been sort of, mixed, to some people being negative, actually saying it's sort of like a messy movie, like the first hour drags and, certain other things. But to me, again, I don't know if it's because this is my first time seeing one in a theater and just being super invested at the moment. Like, I was not bored at all. I didn't see the first hour really dragging at all. Like, they were setting up quite a few things, which of course you do, in the first act of a movie. So yeah, if I was to rank the films, which I actually did on my Letterboxd, if you want to go look, this is actually my second favorite one. Yeah, I know I just saw it. I know, it was my first one in a theater, so maybe that has to do with it, recency bias, but I really enjoyed it. My favorite was Fallout. Fallout was just the best one. It just is. I feel like most people feel the same way about that. And of course, Mission Impossible 2 is like the worst one. I think everybody is unanimous with that as well. But yeah, go check out my ranking on Letterboxd. This isn't my favorite movie of the year. I still think Sinners was a better movie overall, in terms of a narrative and stuff like that. This is what it is. It's an action movie, but it's a fantastic action movie, of course. So, and I gotta say too, AMC, very generous to give out really cool posters. This is the first movie poster recreated for this movie, as you can tell. So, Tom Cruise. So that's pretty cool right there. And I believe May 22nd is when the first movie came out, because there's a reference to the first movie, and I think that was the same date. It's not the 30th anniversary, which is kind of weird to me. Like, if they would have waited till next year, it would have been the 30th anniversary. I don't know why they didn't do that. And then on the other side, you get the airplane sequence, which is a great scene. There's 2 sequences in this movie that you're going to hear a lot of people talking about. One involves water, and one involves the airplane. Both scenes were amazing. I like the underwater scene better. You'll know it when you see it. Trust me. Yeah, absolutely incredible. Tom Cruise is a madman. Like, this guy is incredible. Like, he's like 60 years old, and he's still doing all this stuff. This was directed by Christopher McQuarrie. I think that's how you say his name. He's done basically the last 4 movies in a row. So the first 4 had different directors, and then the last 4 was all this guy. So he's pretty much the Mission Impossible guy, you know. I really liked Brad Bird's direction in the 4th one. I'm a Brad Bird fan. You know, he did The Iron Giant, which is, you know, one of my all-time favorites, like childhood classic. And, you know, Ratatouille and Incredibles, you know. So he's more of an animation guy. So to see his take on a live action movie was, you know, really cool. I thought he did a great job with that. I really liked Ghost Protocol a lot. So I think that's like my 3rd favorite, actually. So yeah, J.J. Abrams did the 3rd one. You know, you could tell. It's kind of hard to see certain scenes in that movie. Like, you can't really tell what's happening in fight scenes and stuff. John Woo infamously did the 2nd one, and, you know, yeah, enough said. And then the 1st one was actually directed by Brian De Palma, which is a really cool fact, actually. I think that's pretty cool. The first movie is just fine. Like, it's not, you know, like, amazing, but it started off the whole story. And there are callbacks to the first movie in this one, which I think are pretty neat. And I will do a spoiler section at the end. It's not going to be too long, but there are a few things I want to talk about. There is a major sad moment, and you'll know it when you see it. I didn't cry, but I definitely got a little teary-eyed. You know, my eyes welled up a little bit. You know, if I was seeing these movies, you know, as they came out, as, you know, I could have been a lifelong fan this whole time, I probably would have, like, cried for sure. But, like, there is a very emotionally heavy scene, and I know fans are going to be devastated. Like I said, you'll know it when you see it. And, you know, after 8 movies, it's just certain things like that got to happen, you know? Considering, too, this is supposedly the final one. And I keep saying supposedly because, you know, you never know. They could always, like, do, like, other characters' stories, or, you know, like, sort of like John Wick, like with Ballerina, which I'm definitely going to check that out. And I kind of said the same thing, too, when John Wick Chapter 4 came out. I was like, man, it was such a blessing to get these movies every couple years, and, you know, I acknowledged that, and, you know, that was such a great finale. John Wick was a series I really enjoyed because I got to see them all. You know, I didn't see the first one in theaters just because it wasn't, you know, the phenomenon it was at the time. At the time, it wasn't a phenomenon like it is now. But I did see 2, 3, and 4 in theaters, and man, I'm definitely seeing Ballerina. And now they're talking about making a John Wick 5, so it's like, okay, you know, I thought 4 was the perfect ending, but whatever. So it's kind of the same with this. I knew, you know, in the back of my mind, these series was a special thing to get one every couple years, and, you know, at some point they're going to stop because it's going to get ridiculous. You're at movie number 8 now, so it's like, all right, we need to stop. So it's just, for whatever reason, I was never able to catch up. You know, I regret that. You know, I do regret not seeing these in theaters as they came out. But yeah, I'm glad I did this, you know, because this is definitely one you need to see in IMAX. I'm telling you guys. No home theater setup is going to do it justice, trust me. So yeah, as a finale, I will say it's a great final movie in the series, but I will say, like, the last scene, like, it wasn't bad, but, like, I don't want to say anything, like, without spoiling. But the last scene of the movie was kind of like, you know, I kind of wanted something better. In the spoiler section, I'll talk more about that, but, like, you know, it's still a great finale. Like, it still is, as a final entry in the series. It's just the final scene, like, I was slightly disappointed by, slightly underwhelmed by. But overall, man, I was enthralled this whole time. Like, I was glued to the screen. Like, and, you know, you know, in these movies, characters will make it out of certain situations, but I was still like, man, like, how is this guy going to get out of this situation or this one, or, you know. And the final act of the movie, like, there's so many things piling on top of each other, like stakes. Like, if this doesn't happen, then we can't do this, and if that doesn't happen, then we can't do this, and then, you know, it's like layers on layers. So yeah, they did a very good job in terms of, like, the suspense, you know, and all the different stakes in the movie. And again, you can't really top this one because the story deals with literally the world is going to come to an end, like, literally. So yeah, you can't really top this one. So it basically carries over from the last one because this was originally going to be a two-parter. It was called Dead Reckoning Part 1. This was supposed to be Part 2. They kind of renamed it because the last one didn't do so well at the box office. So they called it The Final Reckoning, which still, it keeps the Reckoning part of the title, instead of calling it Part 2. So it still kind of works. And I like that they called it The Final, to give it that closure. So I don't have a problem with the title or anything. So you're basically dealing with the aftermath of the last one, where the AI, the entity, is essentially going to destroy the whole world if you don't stop it. So, of course, Tom Cruise is on a mission, as usual, to stop it. And it's scary because, something like this could happen. They obviously chose this particular scenario for, current things going on in the real world, because AI obviously is starting to, evolve. And it really is a scary thing because you'll never know what is real and what isn't. We rely so much on the internet and stuff like that, and AI could literally take over the world. So yeah, it's really scary. Right now you can still tell what's real and what isn't, but it's gonna get to a point where we won't be able to tell. So we'll see what happens, and it's only gonna advance more and more. It's going to advance faster as time goes by. Each year, it's going to advance faster than the previous year, because that's just the way technology works. So, yeah. I'm glad that they chose this as, the final villain, of the series, essentially. Now, my complaints, really, I've seen some people saying this. I think Chris Stuckman in his review said this. The movie does a lot of hand-holding. And by that, I mean, when there's exposition and certain things being explained, the movie literally is, holding your hand like you're a baby and you don't know what's going on. So it has to show you, little quick flashbacks of, this is what this is going to mean, or this is what this was. You'll know it when you see the movie. It's okay, I'm not stupid. I understand what's happening. The movie treats the viewer kind of stupid in a way because they keep doing these little things of, oh, remember this guy from this, or remember this, and this is going to cause this. They have to show you, quick little flashes of, what things mean. It's okay, at a certain point, it gets ridiculous. All right, I get it. I know what's happening. And I kind of know why they're doing that. Obviously, this is the 8th movie, so you, need to explain things to people. I get it. But, again, it gets ridiculous at a certain point. Now, I do too, there is, a little montage at the beginning showing scenes from all the movies, which I loved. I think, though, it would have been better if you included that in, the ending of the movie instead, or, maybe during the opening titles. The opening titles get a separate montage. But still, it was cool to see the retro stuff. I really like that. But, yeah, that's, my biggest gripe with the movie is all the hand-holding. I get it. Some of the other movies, I want to say, Part 4 and 5... and even Fallout, they had a lot of exposition going on where sometimes it's, kind of hard to follow what's happening a little bit, if you're not really paying attention. So I get it. I get they want to, help the viewer out a little bit more in this one. But it's man, it's it's a little too much. And then my other, gripe with the movie is the villain, Gabriel, from the last one. He's back in this one. And this guy has turned into a cartoon villain. He's ridiculous. The last sequence with him is he's literally a cartoon. I'm not even joking. It's not even the same guy. Excuse me. The last one, he was way more intimidating, I feel. This one, it's what happened? So yeah, those are my two biggest issues. And then also the fact of the way the story goes, it's kind of literally Ethan Hunt, Tom Cruise, the world is on his shoulders. He is the one man, in charge of saving the world, essentially. You can look at it a certain way like that. It's okay, would that really happen? You know what I mean? When you see certain people that are involved in these decisions, it's okay, I don't think that would actually happen in real life, but I get it. The movie does a decent enough job of explaining why he has to be the one man only to do this certain thing. So yeah, there's little things like that you can nitpick. But yeah, overall, I'm giving this movie a 9 out of 10. Like I said, I was blown away in the theater. If I hadn't seen this in the theater and watched it at home, it'd probably be a different score. I know I'm being recency bias on this, and just blown away by the experience of seeing it. So yeah, I am aware a 9 is like really high for this movie compared to other people's reviews right now. So yeah, I fully acknowledge. But I got to give the movie its flowers. It was a hell of a time. Yeah, I can't recommend it enough. Definitely watch the full series to see how it grows. How it evolves over time and just becomes this juggernaut. Yeah, so I just, I want to say thanks, Tom Cruise, and everybody involved in these movies, because, it takes a lot, obviously. These are big endeavors. And I really hope this one makes its money back, So yeah, I don't really have much else to say. 9 out of 10, very good score, I think, for this movie. Go check it out, seriously. Go to the theater and see it. So yeah, and check out my ranking on Letterboxd, like I said. So I'm going to talk spoilers right now, so leave the video if you don't want to hear spoilers. It's going to be very brief, like I said. I just have one major question. So leave the video, spoilers. Okay, so there's one little thing I didn't understand. So when Angela Bassett, the president, gives the letter to the general lady, Hannah Waddingham from Ted Lasso, she puts the date of the first movie on there, May 22nd, I think, 1996. And I'm like, what is that a reference to? Were they involved with the first movie somehow or something? So I looked it up online. I was trying to find somebody explaining this anywhere. I found one article, and it basically says, these two characters have a link because they both lost somebody they love on that date. So I'm like, okay, but isn't that... I know it's the day the first movie came out, but, did the first movie take place on that day? And is there, a connection with them? I don't know. It was just weird to me. They didn't really, explain it in the movie. At least I don't think they did. I might have missed it. That was my big question. I was like, what? And then, of course, Luther's death was, obviously, that was sad. Which, again, I after 8 movies, it's like, there's got to be some collateral damage. Somebody's got to go, And the last one, we lost, Ilsa, which was really sad, obviously. But it's like, after so many of these missions, I get it. I get why they had to kill somebody, And I was actually fully expecting Ethan Hunt to die at the end, because, this guy's unstoppable. And, what way can you make this truly the final movie? And that's why I said I was kind of disappointed by the ending a little bit. It didn't really have that finality that, John Wick 4 had, for example, which, they're making a 5th one, apparently, so whatever. But at least they made it look like it was a final, you don't necessarily need to kill him off, but, again, the way it ended, it was just the characters kind of just say goodbye without saying anything to each other, and then they just walk off, and, there could easily be another one now. They just, I get it, they're going their separate ways or whatever, but it's I would have preferred an ending where, he retires, he settles down, maybe there's, a flash forward years later, and he's older, and, I don't know, or, a sacrifice or something, So, again, I didn't want to say it in the non-spoiler part, that, I didn't like there was no finality, because that would have gave away that he lived, obviously. But, yeah, I thought the ending could have been a little bit better. And, what other question? I think that was it. I don't think I had any more questions. And then, again, Gabriel, the guy, literally a cartoon at the end. Catch me if you can, And then the way he died, it was, silly, I was fully expecting him to get killed by the knife, because the knife from the first movie came back, but they ended up using that on Benji to puncture, for his lung or whatever. So I was expecting him to get killed by the knife from the first movie. That would have been cooler, I think. Or maybe Paris could have killed him, she wanted her revenge. But whatever, I don't know. It's just his character, again, total 180. I don't know what happened there. So, but yeah, man, that submarine sequence was incredible. That's going to go down as one of the greatest action sequences ever made. It just is. I really want to see a behind the scenes of that in particular. And the airplane stuff. The airplane stuff, I feel is going to go underrated over time, because everyone's going to talk about the submarine sequence. That airplane stuff looked pretty intense, too. Tom Cruise is a madman. I would not be surprised if, 90% of all that stuff was real, So, yeah, don't have much else to say. I think that was everything. I was a little worried for Benji at the end there. I was like, man, are they going to take Benji out too? That would have been a little too much, I think. But yeah, great movie regardless, even though I had my little complaints. But let me know in the comments what you think. Rank all the movies if you'd like, do you think I'm giving this movie way too much credit? But yeah, that's really about it, I think. I'm trying to remember what's coming out next. I know Ballerina is coming out next month. I might see F1. That looks, it's the same guy that did Top Gun Maverick, so that's probably going to be good. And then Fantastic Four's in July. So there's some things coming up, I'll definitely be reviewing. So yeah, but let me know your thoughts of the film in the comments. And were you satisfied with this final entry in the series? But again, thank you, Tom Cruise, and everybody involved. This has been one hell of a ride, and I'm glad I finally, got to see one in the theater. So, but anyways, thanks for watching, and have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.